if you saw the title of this video, you realize that people are starting to hate you, and people are starting to understand that you bring value into their life. And as you begin to discover these people, you're starting to understand that most of your life you don't have to pedestalize anybody. You're starting to understand that even though remotely I feel a certain type of way about a certain type of matter of a subject, I'm beginning to isolate myself. I'm starting to realize, and you're starting to realize, that people hate for no reason. They have no valid reason for coming in our world and breaking it up and blowing it up like it's TNT. You're starting to realize that even though certain type of people are in your energy, you have to let them go. And even if you feel like that certain type of person is coming to you, you began to realize that there is an individual out there, and you're starting to peep their signs. You're starting to peep the scenes. You're starting to understand that deep down you feel a certain type of claustrophobic way of trying to discover your own emotions, and these people are taking advantage of you, and you don't know what to do. And honestly, you're starting to really disassociate yourself from society. You're starting to understand that people are not what they seem they are. People are narcissistic. They have their own values. They have their own certain type of way of living. You're starting to realize that the more times that you feel like that your life is putting at a pedestal, you're starting to lose people that you've known since kindergarten, since fifth grade, wherever you feel like this message is coming from. You are beginning to understand that people are fake. And as you are beginning to understand that, your life is beginning to flourish. You're becoming more at peace with yourself. But that also brings more hecklers in. And you're starting to realize that I have the discernment, and I have a way of understanding that I can be this certain type of person. I have this extreme prowess about myself. I'm special. And I can't be knocked down by a certain type of somebody in my own experience. So now you're starting to experience life for what it is. You're starting to realize that even though deep down I want to feel validated, it was never about validation. It was deep down within myself. And you're starting to pour that into things that you love, whether that be content, whether that's becoming the next musician. You're starting to understand that if you have a placement that whatever source designs you to be, that you're going to be able to be anything you want in this reality, and you don't have to seek any type of validation from anybody. You're in your own energy. I'm starting to pick up on some certain type of beauty within a person. I'm starting to feel certain type of ways. I'm starting to understand the brilliant essence of your own in grace. I'm starting to feel like that as much as sunshine is beginning to shine, as you know, you see the sun coming out in the clouds, you're starting to understand that the sun is only some certain type of mechanism that I give to myself from my idea and a lens where I can actually understand that I'm becoming more popular within my own energy. If you start to realize this, that you are very special and you're different from everybody else, don't let other people knock what you're already believing in yourself. And I'm starting to believe that you're starting to piggyback off of what you have. You're starting to denounce your stuff. You're starting to go back into reasoning to be normal. And you shouldn't be like that. Picking up on, clues and how the weather's been, at least around me, it's been chaotic. And maybe that's been the certain type of energy and the source of storms and tornadoes and dangerous winds that begin to break you down, because you're starting to understand that your mental and your thoughts go hand in hand and they coexist with your emotions. The beginning of time is to realize that messages between you and source are valid. Your dreams could be very vivid. You're starting to have a realization that you can manifest a lot of the things that you want in your life. You're starting to realize the way that I dream, I open up more portals for myself. I'm starting to realize that I have a certain type of energy within me. The things that I wear, the crystals or whatever jewelry that you're designing yourself to becoming, you're starting to feel that essence. If a certain type of person that was in your life right now was to look at you, they would see this beauty within your eyes. You have a soul now. You're not soulless. You quit whatever it was, marijuana, maybe alcohol, and this addiction drove you into becoming popular. You wanted to be around people that you can trauma bond with. And the minute that you separated yourself from these people, you started to feel yourself in a certain type of way where you could understand how narcissists work, how you break them down, and once you leave their certain type of space, you're beginning to realize that life is full of ups and downs. It was never about the person that was designed in the shape of form that everybody wanted you to be. The certain type of person that you were destined to be was the person that had a wife, that had a girlfriend, that had every type of responsibility for living life. And once you began to realize, like, everybody in my life is putting me on a pedestal and I don't do that myself, you started to put yourself, you started to isolate yourself. You started to probably cry on your own, maybe shed a couple of tears, maybe realize that you're very talented in your own right. You can make anything shake. You can create art from thin air, and people hated that. You were able to blow up off a certain type of things. People saw that you were able to make it look easy, and they couldn't. They started to combine and wanting to have a relationship very early. People wanted you to be in that certain type of energy of longing for certain type of things, but you really had to find yourself. And so as you continue to move forward in your life, you see that deep down, that within the vessel that was shaped by everybody else, the only clues that you were destined to have were things that were already instilled to you since birth. You were already vocalized. You were already spreading your emotional prowess within this world, whether it was family and friends. They didn't listen to you when you told them you was going to be this big thing, and people was trying to diminish your energy. They were trying to act like you weren't this big, catastrophic, chaotic. You had certain type of people that were killing your energy, weaponizing the person that you were supposed to be. I'm starting to feel like it's getting easy, but at the same time, you're starting to relax little bit. You're starting to kind of confine it to understanding that I have to feel this way in order to obtain abundance. And the truth is that you don't have to work on yourself. The truth is that you have to extensionally build yourself to be that person. Working on yourself, yes, that's okay. But also indulge and go out, experience things with friends as much as you're trying to be isolated with yourself. And I'm telling you, the minute that you put yourself in that energy of detachment with reason, oh, that girlfriend, the money, the popularity is all gonna come to you. And these narcissists could never put any type of black magic that's within your soul because you're an authentic person. I'm picking up on maybe it's Leo energy this month, but you might be valid to feel like that your sign is within reason of how much this retrograde has affected your life. You're starting to understand that even though you feel a certain type of way about life, that it continues to keep moving forward. Things are starting to pull up. Things are starting to arrive. Things are starting to come to you naturally. And you understand that if I continue to come up with these ideas faster than what people can comprehend, I am going to be a millionaire and I am going to have a certain type of quality about my life. This is not a theory that you make up with yourself, but you're starting to understand that the messages that you get within source are starting to come into your reality. And you're starting to realize that I can have anything that I put my mind towards, like graduating or putting in a couple of classes and taking that next step forward enough to give me certain type of quality about my life. You are going to see certain type of things that source is going to show you and make you feel like you're better for yourself than what you have been in the energy through other people. It's a waste of time. But, well, this message is about to end. I will say that as things begin to arrive, look behind your back and start to understand that certain type of qualities about my life can be stirred in a certain type of direction that I see fit towards my actual life. And that this association is cool. Denouncing your reality is valid, but understand that you will have to wake back up in order to combine into what you call NPCs in life, and continue moving forward, continue loving yourself, and beginning when it starts, and when you start to have more popularity because of how much you've been detached, you begin to have certain type of options, whether that be multiple women or multiple friendships that may come your way. And that's the end of the message, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this. And like I said, always continue to move forward and love yourself. Anything that you want in this world could be obtained through reasoning and through patience. And I'll see y'all in the next